15 damn minutes. I've been muted the whole damn time. All of that just wasted knowledge. Nobody's ever going to hear it. There's no point. Woe is me. Oh my God. I think that's a personal best, Crump. Crump, I think that's a personal best. I think that was a 15-minute muted rant. 15 minutes. Well, thank God I would have done the whole stream muted. Thank God I have one viewer. Bless you, Crump, and your beautiful soul. Oh my gosh. I wish I could make you a cheeseburger and some fries, all homemade. Make the bun homemade, make the burger homemade. It'd be everything. Oh, and the French fries. Nice, thick, Texas cut French fries with homemade ketchup, Crump. It'd be the best cheeseburger you ever had, ever. I wish I could do that for you. Oh my gosh. I'm not kidding, Crump. I'm not kidding. I would have done the whole stream. The whole stream. I just dropped literally the answers to every question that any person has ever asked. That's what I just did. And none of you will ever know. The mysteries are locked away forever. Because I can only do it one time. You know, I channel that universal energy, and it's a 15-minute burn. The moment it's over, it's like, oh, okay, I'm back. Marcus, go. My God, oh my God. Well, now you have to start over. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Markus Show for October 9th, the year of our Lord 2023. You have got to be kidding me. We've just, we warmed up our pipes a little bit. I don't even know what we were talking about. Oh my gosh, you guys missed some good stuff. Good evening. How are you doing? I am doing good, King. How are you? So, funny story. I just was muted for 15 minutes. The whole first part of my show. I'm sitting out here in the shop talking to God knows who. And what happens? An angelic woman from above comes down and releases me of all my burdens. The sweetest, smartest, greatest Crump you will ever see in your life. She saved me today. Hi, Chico. Would you mind laying down so Dad can talk? Huh? I used all the juice up, babe. I know it was muted. Isn't that so sad? It's so sad that I was muted. I didn't mean to. Oh, man. Well, that's okay, though. The show must go on, much like the market, much like the world. Time doesn't stop for nobody. Okay? God, sometimes, though, I wish it did. How are you guys doing? Right? How are you and how are the world? How is the world and how are you living in it? Because I have been doing pretty good, actually. Been playing some video games again. I have gotten hooked on Cyberpunk. When Cyberpunk first came out, I got burned. I got burned like a trash can fire in December. Okay? It's insane. I was so mad when that game first came out. Everyone was T-posing. I got stuck in an elevator. I couldn't even advance the main story. Like my dude's wang kept spawning in on his shoulder. It was nonsense. It was pure, unadulterated nonsense. So I begrudgingly uninstalled Cyberpunk and moved on because I learned my lesson. I took the spanking, never got the release, and here I sit. Right? So Cyberpunk got the wayside. I was like, nope, done. You got me once, you'll never get me again. Right? So shortly after that, of course, I reinstalled it when I heard a couple of the issues were fixed. Well, apparently for everybody but Marcus. Okay? The issues were still there. They still sucked. They didn't work. The game was trash, and I was pissed. Wang still spawning all over the place except for it's supposed to be. So I uninstalled it. I moved on for the rest of my life. So fully ready to never play that game again. The 2.0 patch came out. I was like, hey, sure. I've been fooled before. This ain't my first ex-girlfriend. Still feels good, even if it's only for a little bit before I'm left hollow, empty, and needing a shower. Okay, so I uninstalled the exgirlfriend.exe Cyberpunk 2077, hoping, hey, we'll see what happens, right? We'll see what happens. So I install it. Sure enough, I love it more than anything else. One of the most fun games I've played since probably Grand Theft Auto 5. And I mean that. That's saying something. The ironic part, though, is because I've been playing Starfield, I got that RPG bug back. So Starfield got me ready for Cyberpunk, and now I've been hooked on Cyberpunk. The other day, I beat the hell out of these police for like 8 minutes with nothing but a dildo. It was wild, man. I was like, this is the game I wanted. This is Cyberpunk. The dildo beating, 5-star having, no T-pose doing game. It's been beautiful. It's been absolutely beautiful. So, Cyberpunk, I give it my two thumbs straight into the air. You know, unless it doesn't work for you, then screw that, because you know because it burned us so hard in the beginning, and I'm still chapped from that. It gets one thumb, way up. Actually, no, the beginning of the stream, the muted part, I get out of here. I was talking a little bit about the crazy stuff going on in Israel right now. It's quite the world we live in, isn't it? It really is quite the world that we find ourselves in right now. Because in certain aspects, we're doing super well. You know, quality of life has been higher. It's remarkable to think how much the quality of life has improved in the handful of years. Like 100 years. We basically have jumped a technological generation in 100 years, which is wild, man. Like the fact that we're looking at AI now and all of that stuff, it's just, anybody who says that right now the world isn't amazing is lying. Now, on the other end of that spectrum, while amazing, great things happen over here, crazy, insane, what the hell is going on in our world, things are happening over here. And living in this duality, it almost feels like a movie. You know, like who's seen Elysium with Dan Aykroyd? Or no, Matt Damon, right? Bald head, not the greatest movie, but ultimately it talks a lot about, you know, race or wealth divide. You know, you got the wealthy people who have all the technology and basically have no problems. And then you have the people who are at the exact same time living without that technology. It's insane, right? Like I understand it from everything isn't free. Like there's only so many resources, and there's an argument to be made that the people who can extract those resources have a higher ownership to them. But that's one aspect. There's also the humanity side. There's also the part where we as a species need to protect each other and support each other. And then I truly believe that's always kind of been the biggest struggle of humanity. How do we balance the 80-20 equation? How do we balance that out so as a species we work together while still understanding the inherent shortcomings of humans? Some people do and some people don't. Most people want to do, but that doesn't mean that everybody does. You see what I'm saying? So if we go on with that thought, it's interesting to see how the future will shake out. Because a horrible example of this is you have lithium phone supercomputers, and then but on the extreme, with how we make these is through horrible human below sub-animal processes of lithium mining. So is the cost worth the gain? A lot of people say no, because that's crazy. Because if we're demonizing and putting down our fellow species to lift up another species, like another part of that species, it's crazy. You know, when you have a wolf pack, you don't just take the old wolves and kick them out. They're in the middle because they need the most support. And it doesn't mean that they just don't contribute at all. It means that they've earned the right, you know? And it's just interesting because there's no real right answer. There's just always making sure that you're asking the question. Are we doing this the best we can with what we got currently? because there's realities and then there's wants. A lot of people want the world to be a certain way, but it will never happen because it just doesn't work. Gravity pulls, humans fight. It's just kind of, the way it goes. I disagree with you about thriving on quality of life, even if we can live longer. AI is getting people lazy, so many kids are committing suicide because of harassment, whether it is on technology or not. And you still have most African countries, and now wars are breaking out. Our species won't work together as long as there's power and money to be made. Well, and that kind of perfectly proves my point, is that while those terrible things are happening, there's also countries working together, industries being built, medicine being developed, humanitarian acts all over the world. So while we do have bad things happening, we also have very good things that are happening, and we have people that are trying to make the world better. For every warlord, you have people who hate that warlord. For every evil person, there's a resistant push against it. The issue is how hard do you push? How hard are you willing to work to make the world better? If your only thing you're willing to do is be violent, that's not very effective towards building something new. It's really easy to tear down and to say, like, rich people bad, war bad. But it's like, yes, war bad, well, except for war that is defending people, right? So do we let bad people do bad things, or do we push against it? And that is the question that you have to ask. Do the means justify the end? Sometimes they do. A lot of times they don't. As a person who was in the military and has to basically know that when I signed up, that was a possibility that I would have to go fight somebody else's fight. And then I had to believe that by fighting that fight, it was being fought for good, morally just reasons. And unfortunately, the more you learn, the harder that pill is to swallow. Then, your thoughts do change. Especially in a modern world, the idea of going to war is just ridiculous, honestly. But ultimately, it still happens. There's still conflicts amongst borders. It's crazy. Like, it's such an interesting, it's so stupid. It's not even interesting anymore. Now it's just like, okay, we've been recording history for long enough that we can literally see the cyclical nature of our conflicts. We can see the cyclical nature of our empires rising and falling. Like, we now have written knowledge and data that proves that humans are just really fancy monkeys. And we're animals just like the rest of the world, fighting over territory like wolves pissing on a tree. We're not that much more complicated than most animals. Our behaviors really do flow with most of the natural law of the world. The biggest issue is when we stop being natural. We stop doing the things that make sense, living with the earth. We can build homes without stripping the land. We can invent technology without uprooting all of the earth. Now, granted, the hardest part is the balance. Who gets to decide the balance? Who decides that this is enough mining and this is not enough mining? Who gets to decide that this is enough technology that's putting people out of jobs? Like, who gets to determine those lines, right? Who gets to say, no, I'm the smart one. I get it. I know what's best for everybody else. Nobody. That's the collaborative nature, man. That's where you got to figure out. No, not figure out. That's where you need to always remember. You can't forget that while you're trying to help people, that they are people. They're not constituents. Okay? They're not demographics. Okay? You bundle them and clump them into these demographics and states and like-minded tribes, and you forget that, no, they're a group of individuals. All these people, as much as there's tendencies that people fall into and people, fall the trap and like, hey, it's okay. Just someone driving by. You fall, quit, come on, it's okay. Go. I'm right in the middle of a good one. So anyway, that's, my point was something. Damn it, I was really on the roll with that one. I don't recall. What's the species of my dog and how old is she? She looks about 8 or 9. Dang, you got a good eye, King. German Shepherd mix, and she's actually close to double digits, I want to say. I have a really bad memory. 2011 was towards the end. So December baby, 2011 was when she was born. And so that would make her 12. Oh my gosh, yep. Oh, quit it. What, I'm not paying you the way you want me to? So, but yes. Hell yeah, and she's my Scarlet. She's my Nava doggy. She's been with me everywhere I've gone. The only place she didn't go with me is when I was deployed to Guam. And then, unfortunately, I did have to leave her. But she's been with me everywhere else. She's traveled all over the U.S. It's amazing, man. And then this little one right here is Chico. She's the newest addition. I know, Exner, you could have yelled and screamed. She's the newest edition, and I have no idea. Husky something. Wife knows those answers. But yeah, we are very pro dog here. We love dogs. That's great that she only looks 8 or 9 though. That means we're doing well. She's due for a trim. We got baby coming. It's pretty awesome. I'm not nervous about it, which is, I hope that's a good thing. Because if I'm not nervous, it means I'm prepared, right? Is that how that works? Don't do it, Exner. Drywall work is a bitch, or it can be. Man, that is just so crazy to think about. I wonder if the baby can get Wi-Fi, right? Like, I imagine that'll be an upgrade one of these days. Like, you know, you're going to have a baby. It's like, all right, what would you like? You want long hair, short hair, right? Athletic, intelligent. Just check these boxes. We'll shoot the nano bots into it, and then boom, 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 it comes out. Customized baby. They already have certain things that, like, what is it? I always forget the name. It's not splicing, because I think that was Batman Beyond, but it's super controversial. And it was, I don't know, I didn't follow up with it. I only remember when it first kind of was a hubbub. But it was babies by design. It was just genetic engineering, and what was the name of it? We'll just go with splicing. If you've never watched Batman Beyond, you're doing yourself a disservice. I think I'm just going to stick with YouTube, man. I got nothing against Twitch. It's just the switching back and forth. It's kind of a bummer. The best part about the Twitch just chatting, though, is the culture of just chatting is prevalent here, right? Like, Twitch people get it. Like, they browse around, they jump into streams they like, and Bob's your uncle. They understand that it's the middle of a conversation, and it's not as much pressure. Because, like, with the YouTube lives, I always feel like I got to put on a great show, right? And I guess I do feel the same pressure here, but I feel like more people understand that long-form live streams are not 99.99% high-octane. You know, I guess you get it here. Because if I'm not muted, I'm screaming at you. And it's that duality of everything that kind of makes it all happen. I don't know. You know, YouTube did really good and really bad things for my streams. It jumped my quality up exponentially. But it also set the bar so high that I don't stream as often. When I first started streaming, I looked back, and it was literally 4 days a week, almost without missing a beat. And I was, you know, just killing it. But then I got bored, and that's typically what happens. Is I got bored. I didn't like doing the same thing over and over. I'm a peacock, baby. You gotta let me fly. But then the higher I flew to the sun, the more the wax melted, and down I came. So now I find myself free falling with sticky wings, and I'm landing back somewhere that's comfortable with higher quality. I mean, look at this. Look at what we're doing now. So it's almost like you gotta fly higher and fall so that you can take all of that knowledge from personal growth and gain and then do better the next time. So that's where Copernicus really screwed up, right? He flew too high to the sun, but he didn't have like a parachute to learn the lesson. Because now imagine he's like, Papa, Papa. And he's like, what's up, boy? It's like, good thing we thought of the parachute. The wax melted. The wax melted? I got too close to the sun, Papa. It melted me wax. Oh, good thing for the parachute. Come on down, boy. We'll do it with glue this time. No wax. Good call, Papa. You know, like if that's not what you're doing, what are you doing? But Copernicus screwed up, okay? He didn't think of the parachute. His hubris, his pure fucking hubris. It led him to wax up his son's wingos and shot him straight to the sun. Didn't even thinking it could fail. You know what else sound familiar? Titanic. Unsinkable my butt. That thing sunk pretty slow, actually, but it sunk. So by definition, you can't call it unsinkable. The only thing unsinkable about that boat was Mary Brown. You know what's crazy is the older I get, the less relevant Titanic jokes will be. That's crazy to think about. I want to make it all better. I want to solve all the problems of everyone in the world, while understanding that's fully impossible. You know, it'd be like the Marcus Makes Your Wish Come True Foundation. And then I'll actually make kids' wish come true. If I remember right, I don't think they make as many wishes come true as you would think. So what I am curious about, though, so with these Marcus mornings, or mornings with Marcus, right? They're just chats. No gaming, no nudity, mostly, and very few hot tubs. But with these hours, these short hours, it don't matter. It's whatever I want. Because it's so ultimately, I love the idea of like Q&A. Like, hey, Marcus, did you hear about this thing that's happening? What's your opinion? If that's what it turned into, and that's my ultimate goal, would be accomplished, right? People curious as to my opinion as on something that's going on. Because I like to be informed. And if I don't know about it, I want to know about it. So like that's one thing that we hope to build that to with this, right? And then the other side of the coin is I also want to inform, right? So I want to be able to get on the rants, get on the soapboxes, get to scrubbing and get the dirt off. You know what I mean? And I also want these to be in different locations because that's also fun. So in a world of wants, does that world exist on Twitch? Or does that world exist on YouTube? The technology's better on the YouTube, but there's way less nudity allowed. That is a problem. There's more discoverability on YouTube, but not for live streams. The nudity, though. I keep going back to that. Oh, man. Exner, good plan. No, it is, because if you don't get those aggressions out, they just stay in your head. And if they stay in your head, it's not good. So much about modern day is shut up. So much about modern day is don't talk about, it's gone even further. Before it was don't talk about religion, politics, or whatever the third one was. But that somehow warped from you don't talk about those things disrespectfully. And then it turned into you don't talk about them at all because whenever you talk about them, you have to fight. You have to yell. You have to scream. You have to holler. And I don't agree with that. I think that's terrible. Just because you disagree with somebody does not mean that they're your enemy. Just because you disagree with somebody doesn't mean that you no longer can have value from that friendship. You know, if anything, you'll be a better person when you embrace other people's thoughts and opinions. You don't have to believe them. You don't have to agree with them. But the more you're capable of listening to them without having this crazy emotional response where you're just hollering and, well, you're wrong and, well, I'm right. And it's not about being right and wrong. We all know you think you're wrong the same way that I think I'm right. We all know you think you're right. The same way that I know that I'm right when I'm expressing it. The difference is the expectation shouldn't be, hey, you need to change your mind. Because I'm right in my mind, you therefore are wrong and are worse. That ain't true. The only time that matters is if you're punching someone in the face. Hey, man, I don't think you should be punching me in the face. It's like, well, I think I should be punching you in the face. And it's just, you see the difference? You see what real violence is? You see what real aggression is? Okay? It's not saying, I don't agree with your stance. It should be, well, thank you for sharing your opinion. Here's mine. Looks like we disagree. But we might have each pulled something out of the conversation. If I'm talking about, say, one person on this, let's get crazy. Let's be willing to use real words, huh? Okay, let's say right now, hot topic. Okay, LGBTQ. Okay, there's a huge conversation on the internet about it, right? A lot of people talking about rights and beliefs, gender, and all of that stuff. There's tons of opinions, okay? But how these opinions are getting expressed amongst people who disagree is screaming. It's screaming, it's mocking, and it's hate. Both sides. Nobody wants to listen. Nobody wants to hear each other. Now, I would say one side's a little more stubborn than the other, but the ultimate point is, if you're not willing to have a discussion, there never will be forward progress. It is not about just thinking other people are wrong. It's about willing to express why you think you're right. And ultimately, at the end of the day, if you disagree, you disagree. But you disagreed respectfully and you went on and lived your individual lives. We need that back so much. Because one issue that's really happening is what happens is the loudest group is the one that gets the world changed for them. That is mob rule. We don't like mob rule in America. It's why we pushed back against mob rule, right? Because back in the day, the mob rule was if you're gay, we hang you from the trees if we don't like you. So mob rule, thank goodness that stopped. So as we continue forward, the only reason the mob with the most power didn't take over was because the silent majority that wasn't the loudest became the loudest. People get sick of watching each other be in pain. People get tired of seeing their friends sad. So they take those individual parts and they blow it up to the whole world, right? My gay friend got called a bad word. That makes my feelings hurt because I like that person. I don't care that they're gay. And then because of their friend hurts, it gets compounded on this. Everybody hates gays. It's like, well, you need to calm down. We need to stop hating strangers. We need to stop hating people we haven't met. We need to stop judging people that are never going to be part of our life. You need to take the friends that you have, the loved ones that you have, and you need to appreciate them for who they are. You need to have those conversations with each other, not on the internet. Stop advocating just to feel good about advocating. It's really cool to be part of a group that is all saying the same stuff. Okay, you go to church, everyone's talking and singing, and it's a community. You go to a gay pride parade, most people are happy. They're talking, and it's a community. It's a like-minded group. There's nothing wrong with a good version of like-mindedness. But you don't get to swing that power and authority of like-minded individuals. Just like, hey, because there's more of me, I'm right. No, fuck you. That's not how that works. I still have an opinion. It doesn't matter if there's more of you. I'm still one. You're each one. You all have individual opinions. There's a couple things you collectively agree on, but that doesn't mean you forget about the individual. We have to love each other genuinely. Not what's the word I'm looking for? Not categorically. Damn it, there's a word, but the sentiment is we don't just love each other if they check all the boxes, right? Like, we don't just love each other based off of a checklist of like, do you believe this? Do you believe this? What do you do? And it's like, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no. If you simplify people down to that, it's the most boring life you'll ever live. Okay, the coolest thing about humanity is how crazy we are. The coolest thing about humanity is our noodle. This right here, this brain, okay? Our imaginations, our beliefs, our stupid shit, and our smart shit. All of those things come together to make humans awesome. Okay, we build dams that eventually break. That's crazy. We drill holes to the core of the earth just because we're curious if it will blow up the earth. Yeah, that happened. It got too hot and all the equipment was melting. And then a lot of the workers said they were hearing demons. So that's why that project stopped. Okay, different ideas are good. Because everybody said the hole digging project was stupid, except for the hole digging people. And now we have that story forever. The earth not being the center of the earth was once considered blasphemy. And he was, Galileo was excommunicated simply for uttering the fact that the earth wasn't the center of the universe. That used to be majority. That used to be mob rule. I bet you a lot of people felt real stupid. Oh shit, turns out the sun thing. Yeah, I was in that group. I threw rocks. You don't want to be the dude who's throwing rocks at Galileo and find out later that he's a super genius. You want to be on the right side of history. And what the right side of history means is you didn't hate people. You didn't condemn. You didn't make the world slower because you wanted it to be the way that you want it to be. We should be working towards our own individual, collective existence. And yes, that can happen together and apart. It's quite the concepts to grasp, because ultimately you have to be comfortable in your individual universe and life decisions while working towards a collective positive outcome for everyone. That is a bitch, but it's not impossible. It takes effort. It takes consideration. It takes this, right? It takes talking and then doing something with those talkings. I feel like time has flown by. Dude, Richard, like so fast. 9 months came and went, dude. It's insane. I'm so excited. I'm so excited to be a dad. You know, like to see this little mongrel and just have it be so dumb and then watch it get smarter and faster and stronger. And then all of a sudden it's a person. And it's like, you're a person. And it's walking and talking. It's like, you're kind of smarter. And then it's figuring out stuff and it has problems of its own. And it just boom, 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 boom. And I'm just so excited to meet him. I'm so excited to meet him. Welcome back, Richie. You do what you want, but don't tell me I have to go along with your delusion. Exactly. Live the individual life. I am not telling you that you can't live the way you want. Exactly. That's the difference between malice and not. You can have opinions, even if they're like, what an idiot. Even if that's your opinion of that person. Like, that person is an idiot. And I do not like them at all. And I disagree with everything they say. That doesn't mean that they're your enemy. That doesn't mean that you have a war to fight. That doesn't mean that a battle is about to commence. It means that that person or that individual just probably doesn't need to be in your life. And that's what I love. Those are the adult decisions. Mind you, I don't hate anyone. I love all my brothers and sisters. Exactly. And that hate is, oh man, it has been co-opted by weak people. Because hate is powerful. Hate is not just a word you say about people that you don't agree with. That's crazy. What word do you use for people that deserve hate? Because there's people that deserve it. Now, you don't obsess about it. You don't let them live rent-free. If you decide that somebody is worth hating, you move on. You carry forward with that life and not bring that hatred into yours. It's not always easy to do. Sometimes it takes a divorce. Sometimes it takes moving. Sometimes it takes a restraining order. It happens. But ultimately, you get to choose who's in your life. You get to choose who is a part of your life, right? And so many people have forgotten that. They have forgotten how free they really are. They have forgotten how much control they actually have over their life and their decisions and what they do. They've essentially given up the right to choose to anybody willing to take it, anybody willing to just tell you what to do. There's so many people who just stand and wait to be told what to do because they just can't even understand, like, no, you have a right to choose. You can do what you'd like to do right now. And they've been told their whole life, like, you have to ask permission. You have to make sure it's okay. Check for a permit. Check for permission. And that, too much of that will just turn you into an indentured servant. And you don't even realize that you're literally an adult who looks for parents at every decision you make. Well, is it okay if I do this to my car? Could I put in this shed? Right? Can I open this business? It's like, yes, you can. Believe in thyself, and you shall be free. This is not the Gestapo. This is America. And in America, we're free. And the only way we're not free is if we let the people above us tell us we're not, because it ain't true. This country was built in fire, and there ain't nothing freer than fire. All right? 100% confirmed karma's real. And I have Emma full-time for the next couple years. Oh my gosh, we have so much to talk about. Storyteller Mark, we have a lot to talk about. Everybody needs to believe. I don't even think that's a heart. Everybody, how the hell do you do a heart? So, here's the point. This is why you do the right things. This is why you be a good person. That road, it's not easy to be good. You would think it was. You would wish this was some storyteller, some fairy tale where the hero gets the girl gets the kingdom, and we all walk away, farting cotton candy and kissing rainbows on the mouth. Okay? But here's the deal. That ain't life. That ain't the way she goes. Okay? If you want a good life, you got to work for it, especially when you're an adult. It's a lot easier when you're young. But as you get older and you gain responsibilities and you gain people who need you and rely on you, and there's genuine consequences to your decisions in life, if you don't live a good life, you will never have one. Making the right decision, knowing there will be consequences to that right decision, I can't imagine. But going forward, knowing that you were truthful, going forward knowing that you didn't pick spite, you didn't pick hate, you didn't pick judgment, because some people deserve judgment. But you knew that if you did the right thing, you would eventually the universe would sort itself out, and the negative that has been killing you for all that time finally gets their comeuppance. That is all the evidence you need as to why you live a good life. You don't look to the people being pieces of shit and say, well, they're hurting people, so why should I live a good life? It's because you don't want to be them. You don't want to be the negative force of this world. You want to be the thing that makes the world worth being in. You want to be the person who makes them. You want to be the person who makes them smile. You do. Or the person that helps them dry their tears, whatever it may be. That positive force will resonate for lifetimes, way beyond yours. So, sorry, I'm so happy that karma and being the good person that I know you are has finally came about, and just said, thank you, Story, for being that good person that we know you are. Sorry about all the scars, but here you go. If you don't take time to appreciate the good, you'll miss it. You'll blink and it'll be gone. Story, that's freaking awesome, man. Hey, you're good. This is when it matters. This, because you throw the F-bomb when it's power. That's why we save our cuss words, because we use them when it's to impart authority and power. So we are fucking so happy for Storyteller Merc that it's worthy of the F-bomb, man. I love it. And I love it. Don't waste words, powerful words on weak things. Hate's a good one. We started with that. You probably hate nothing. I could think of a few people who hate one or two things. But for the most part, you probably just have things you don't like that you're keeping in your life. Oh, man. Do or do not. There is no try. Exactly, Story. Oh, my old age is all over my face. I'm pretty sure. Oh, sir, I assure you that nothing comes out of my butt smells anything like cotton candy. And thank God. I've never seen brown cotton candy, and if I ever did, I'd walk the other direction. I'll tell you that. I don't care if you tell me it's chocolate. Can't spin chocolate. Okay? Think about it. You and everyone here got me through it. Thank you, Story. Honestly, man, I was being present for a friend and a good person. If you didn't deserve it, you wouldn't have got it. I know that sounds harsh. I take that as a compliment, because think about it, man. Why would you spend a bunch of your energy helping someone who didn't appreciate or change, or at least part of those two things go into deserving it? But why would you give so much of your soul and energy, trying to help somebody that ultimately just goes right back and puts the needle in their arm? That's not what Story was doing. That's just for dramatic effect. Okay? But we only have so much ability to help. And it's hard to walk away from somebody. Oh, man. This is one of it's hard for me to even finish that advice because it's so complex. Sorry, I'm a little ahead in my head. But, oh shit, my camera battery's flashing. How long's the stream been going? Exclamation point uptime. Is this in focus? Production, please. Let me know, people. Oh, am I focused? I don't have autofocus on. And I don't know, am I good? Okay, all right, we're good. Whew, had to, quick potty break, Huh. Whew, all right. What are we talking about? Not swearing as frequently. Oh, Richie, I love that. Because here's my deal. When it comes to swearing or cussing, whatever you want to call it, I'm not a believer that you don't cuss. I think that's ridiculous. Okay, we're adults. They're words, and they have a place and a purpose. Okay, we give way too much power to words. Now, what I do believe in, though, is I do believe in decorum. I do believe in a societal understanding of what is appropriate and what is not appropriate. Okay, I do believe it ebbs and flows based off of society, and certain things that were taboo no longer are taboo, and then vice versa. Okay, here's a great example. Okay, and my overseas people will understand. Okay, the word, oh my gosh. That is for anybody older than 20. Okay, you know what I mean. First and foremost, unless you're an American, if you say you probably mean a cigarette. That's always been the funniest part to me. But in the U.S., okay, the word was a derivative of an insult that, honestly, the history of it is interesting. But when I was younger, calling people that was nothing. Not even a big deal. Okay? Because here's why. Never in my life did I see that word used to attack a homosexual. And here's why. You didn't hate people back then. It wasn't cool to just be one of the people who hated someone. You didn't get clout. A lot of times you were shamed. You were shunned. It's like, hey, man, who cares? He's cool. She's cool. Don't care. Now, the biggest difference between now and then is but also, we don't really want to talk about it because it's unique enough that most of us cannot relate. So it was kind of the don't ask, don't tell. Now, with that being said, that's something that I'm kind of happy went away with it. Because I was always the guy that didn't really care. It didn't bug me. It's like, okay, cool, you're gay. Just, okay, I'm not. We on the same page? Right on. And so you moved on with your life, okay? Fast forward to now, I'm worried that my whole channel will get banned just for saying the word. We have decided that the way that we take away power from words is to give them more power than they have ever had, ever. So instead of teaching people to, if somebody says something you don't like, and you don't care who they are, and they're not your friends or people in your life, you move on. But now, even if you don't know them, even if you just overhear it, if you see it on Twitter, if it somehow crosses into your existence through your imagination, we now are supposed to say that that word is lethal. Its words are violence. And that's not the way. That is not the way. That is how you make people scared. That is how you make people compliant. That is how you create enemies. Okay, saying that I can't say a word means that I will forever resent the person telling me that I cannot say that word. And that is a universal rule for all of humans. Humans do not like being controlled. We don't like being told what we can't do. Now, sure, most people like having leaders, and most people like being told in a different way. But like, it's amazing how, if you want to divide a group, all you have to do is make something that people disagree with. You do that, you will see tribes form faster than anything else. Because ultimately, people care more about expressing their negative stuff rather than focusing on the positive, but ultimately less powerful, or not powerful, less impactful, positive objects of the thing. Sorry, I got kind of vague there. God, it bugs me. Because as a product of the 90s, every single thing about the 90s was be cool to each other and love each other. Okay? I was not told to accept homosexuals by being told that I'm a horrible person and that the only way to atone for my sins is to lick the boot. Like, that's crazy. I was just told to not be a piece of shit. And that's a really easy lesson to understand. Don't treat people the way you don't want to be treated. Simple. Real simple. But also, you know what else simple? Sticks and stones may break my bones, but your words will never hurt me. And this is coming from a kid who was bullied a lot. Okay, I was fat. I got picked on. I cried. I'll admit it. They were mean. They hurt me physically and emotionally. One time my bully shoved my head into a brick wall in the corner just because I was fat. We didn't get along. He was kind of chunky too. I don't know what his problem was. Okay, I blacked out completely. Concussion. Just because I was a chunko. Humans are dicks. But guess what? Me and that kid weren't friends. I had plenty of friends. I didn't let that one asshole determine my self-worth. And it's because I was actually empowered growing up. I was told that he was a dick and I am not a dick. And we don't let dicks determine our life. We don't let people who don't have our best interests at heart dictate our lives. Just like the government. That's why you don't let the government dictate your life either. My biggest pet peeve is justice wars. Exactly. People fighting other people's wars. They think that through some, badge of being born, they are here to save us all from ourselves. It's a shame. It's truly a shame. And I'm seeing that happen a lot in women right now too. It's like women are being told this insane narrative that even like it's insane duality where you're the exact same as a man, but you're also extremely oppressed and have terrible lives. And it's just like, wait a minute. So the way you're going to empower people is to diminish their value? Am I understanding that right? The way that we're going to show these women that they matter more than just their bodies is to tell them that they're in a system that they can never advance in. That if you're pretty, you're trying too hard. And if you're ugly, you're not trying hard enough, but beauty standards are wrong. What? How about what would you guys like to do? That's my question. How would you like to live? Do you want to work? Go work. Do you want to be a mom? Go be a mom. If you decide to do either, your choice. I'm not here to tell you what you're doing right and wrong, unless it's crack. Then I'll tell you it's wrong. Don't do crack. It's bad. Shouldn't do crack. But the part that so many people are doing right now is they're living other people's lives. And we got to stop. We got to stop living other people's lives. It's not your place. This isn't your, what's the word? Like, you're not the puppet master, Geppetto. Cut my strings, bitch. They did a whole Disney movie on it. Don't be a liar either. Imagine if our noses actually grew. You know, should we end? I think I'll end this one on like a little bit of a mental health talk. One big issue that I find myself doing is not believing that people like me. And I wish I wasn't using me, but it's what I was thinking. So it'd be dishonest to say somebody else. But to my point, meaning it's not that people don't like me, right? It's not that I have enemies. It's that I've somehow convinced myself through a lot of bad narratives and things that have happened to me that people are only nice to me because it's the nice thing to do. And with that being said, it's crazy, right? But let me elaborate, because it's a lot deeper than that. Because that statement is honestly meaningless without explanation. So what do I mean by like? So when it comes to how a person views themselves, it manifests in a lot of different ways, right? Some people claim that to be introverted. Some people claim to be extroverted, right? Like, I'm an A-type personality. I'm a B-type. I'm a Sigma male, whatever, all these labels that everybody wants. But I think a big part of why so many people want these labels is because it helps them understand the parts of themselves that they don't like. Most people who go and look at like what a Sigma male is, they don't necessarily focus on the positive aspects of that personality type. They focus on the negative parts that help explain their shortcomings. Does that make sense? So ultimately, when you're looking at these labels and you're looking for ways to describe yourself, you need to ask yourself, like, what parts of me am I describing? Am I describing my shortcomings? Am I describing my goals? Am I describing my wants? Or am I describing my reality, like my current self? All of those answers are right. Excuse me. I apologize. A little bit of a tummy day. But all of those answers are right. Okay, all of those things that you describe are how you see yourself, are how you perceive your personality or the life that you choose to live. The problem with that, though, is what description you're giving probably shows what part you're focusing on, right? If someone asks who you are and you describe yourself as all the things that you haven't acquired, you're probably somebody who wants a lot, right? Like, you see the things you haven't done, and they're the things that are on your head constantly. And because they're on your head constantly, that's what you talk about. It's a feedback loop of, man, I'm working towards my business, and I'm really working towards this, and you're driven, you can tell. Like, you have goals that you think about constantly. And when they're positive goals, that's great. It's like, cool, man, working on business, that's sweet. Or working on your family, working on your yard, playing, enjoying yourself. You're happy. You sound happy. That's great. Happy and motivated. Now, the other side is like, I'm still fat. I still wish that I would have, launched that one, deodorant brand I talked about, but you know me, kind of a lazy piece of shit. Right? Like, if that's how you describe yourself, I bet you think about the things you don't like a lot. You probably think about the parts of you that you despise and or are annoyed with the most. But instead of looking at how to fix those things, you see them as your burden or your excuse to not progressing forward. And that's no bueno, right? That's not the way to live. And I say all this just to help you identify which one are you. What is your conversation looking like? Do you speak positively to yourself and others? Or do you talk a lot about the shortcomings that you wish were better? Now, if you identify the type of person you are, don't take it to a bad place. Don't take it to a like, oh, I'm a piece of shit, man. It's like, no, you're not. Stop going bad with it. Now you know the type of person that you are. Now you can focus on being exactly the type of person that you are. You have your core, you have your foundation, you have your base understanding. Now that you have your base understanding, you look for the goals. You write them down. You put them on your fridge. On my mirror, I wrote down, don't be a pussy. Because I don't want to be a pussy. It's that simple. So I don't. Well, some days. But for the most part, I remind myself of the person that I want to be. On the bad days, I remind myself very cruel. And on the good days, I remind myself of not as cruel. But ultimately, it's that understanding that allows me to push through and ultimately be better every day, even in the spiral, even in the storm, the tornado of it all. You focus on the part that matters the most, and it will most likely manifest. And that includes focusing on the negative parts. You probably are manifesting them, you know? So I recommend being the person that struggles more because they're aware of their struggles than the person that struggles less but also struggles forever. I think it's a lot more important to have a temporary pain to have a long-term pleasure than it is to just have a little bit of pain that you can handle stretched out and it never stops. And it sucks because we don't want to hurt. We don't want emotional or physical pain. We want a good life. But like I said in the very beginning of this, if you want a good life, you have to work for a good life. And that's what we're doing. Full circle, bitches. What'd you think of that? What'd you think of that? I thought it was pretty good. Oh, 100%. I never focus on my positives or how to fix my flaws. Just negatize. Well, exactly. And I would challenge that is getting better all the time, right? Because look at where you were to now, man, and it is black and white, brother. It is so different. And that just shows why it's important to have a village of people who can remind you of the good. They can remind you of the positive things that you're doing. So, well, my friends, I do believe it has happened once again. You have used your time wisely and brought joy once again to this world. I'd like to think that we're all a little better than we were when this stream first started. And I want to keep doing it. So if you're here, I want to thank you.